lot of questions, blah blah blah. Only one my answer. Anthony Joshua is Olympic champion. First.
Yeah.
Jake Paul, it's he's a sportsman, YouTuber, showman. Rolls Royce, Fiat.
Another day and another warning is given to Jake Paul when Oleksandr Usyk, who himself had made Anthony Joshua fall twice, made a very harsh warning about Jake Paul. Joshua could kill this guy in case he wants to. That violent statement exposed the extent of the potential peril in this confrontation between Joshua and Paul.
I have nothing bad in mind.
Yeah. It's just true. It's business, more money. Only this.
So we need to pray for Jake Paul.
Yes. I will pray Jake Paul because I want fight with Jake Paul in octagon.
Yeah.
To Joshua захочет, то він його вб'є просто.
Yeah, you're correct. If Anthony Joshua want, Anthony kill this guy.
Lots of commentators in the boxing industry still wrote off the fight as a mismatch, a circus, or even a blow to the sport, yet Andrew Tate held a much different opinion. According to his argument, whatever the purists were saying, Jake Paul should be given credit because there is no one who would want to venture into a challenge that Jake Paul had handled.
Huge respect to Jake Paul. I have nothing bad to say about Jake. Everything I was going to say, I can no longer say. So fair play to him. He's a brave man. He believes in himself. And I wish him and AJ a fantastic fight, and I hope they both come out without injury and without any problems and without any health issues. I really do have a lot of respect for him. Like, there was a time when Jake was really insulting me, and Logan Paul hated me, and all these things, and KSI insulted me, and Chase insults me, all these people insult me. I'm really just, I'm just a normal dude. I have respect for people who do things that are worthy of respect. I harbor no hate in my heart. I wish Jake the absolute best.
He underlined that Paul had crossed the border between an internet entertainer and a professional fighter, one who was ready to risk his life against one of the physically most impressive boxers of modern times. To Tate, the criticism was minor compared to the mere fact that bravery is bravery, and Jake Paul had demonstrated that there was no shortage of it in him.
Jake isn't a YouTuber. Everyone needs to stop talking like Jake is a YouTuber. Jake is a boxer. Jake has more money than 99% of professional boxers on the planet. He has a full-time training camp. He lives with a full-time gym, full-time trainers. He's dedicated his life to this sport for nearly 7 or 8 years. That's a professional boxer. He's an ex-YouTuber. And this whole narrative, I'm just a YouTuber, is a really good sales tactic because Jake is a boxer and he is at heavyweight. So it's a heavyweight boxer against a heavyweight boxer.
The word of this fight spread rapidly. The YouTuber pro Paul, who had made his record 12-1 and had 7 knockouts in his career, took the challenge when his initial opponent dropped out. The former world heavyweight champion Joshua, with a record of 28-4 and 25 KOs, accepted the fight, but with a weight limit of 8 3-minute rounds, 10-ounce gloves, and a limit of about 111 kilograms. Tony Bellew, however, rejected the entire concept outright. To him, the fight stretched beyond belief. He said he couldn't understand how anyone could genuinely imagine Jake Paul standing across the ring from Anthony Joshua with 10-ounce gloves on. Bellew described the whole idea as madness, stressing that the moment Joshua landed a clean shot, Paul would feel a level of power unlike anything he had ever experienced.
How can you believe it's going to happen?
Have you made peace with it? Because I've never seen someone so animated over this fight.
It's insane. It's madness, but no one can knock Josh because it's just madness. I can't get my head around it, mate. I just don't believe he is going to be in the ring facing Josh with 10-ounce gloves on. When he touches him for the first time with a pair of 10-ounce gloves on, he's going to get the fright of his life.
Bellew continued by explaining that although the financial incentive made the fight understandable, it didn't make it any more logical from a competitive standpoint. He acknowledged that in modern boxing, once a fighter has achieved their championship dreams, the sport becomes about securing the biggest paydays, and both men were stepping into a deal that offered enormous reward.
I don't understand how it can't be. So, just take his chin.
But you get why it's happening, I mean, as much as...
Of course I get why it's happening.
Yeah.
Of course. For that kind of money, you'd probably fight them both at once. But, fair play to them. Get paid. I told you, once you've won the titles, your desires and your dreams are fulfilled in boxing. Boxing is purely about to make as much as you can, as quickly as you can. And this is ticking both them boxes off well. Well done to both. Fair play.
Joshua even enlisted the help of Usyk in his training to show that he was going to take the fight seriously, even in an unconventional fight arena. Promoters said the fight would earn an eye-watering payu, a total purse said to be worth about 140 million, divided in approximately equal portions. Oleksandr Usyk talked about his attitude to training with other fighters and directly named Anthony Joshua. He said he would be happy to assist the opponents to prepare as long as it is in the interest of the two parties. Though this has been a problem in terms of scheduling, he said that it may now be possible because they had the chance to train jointly during a 2-week camp, with the stress being on a collaborative and professional attitude to preparation.
If I can help my opponents, I help, but only if they have my opponents. For example, we speak with Anthony, say, hey bro, I have preparation. If you can come my camp, we training with you together. Oh, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. But Anthony don't have time, you know. Now it's possible because I will with Anthony with camp 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're training together.
Usyk also discussed his training with Anthony Joshua and said that the sessions were team-oriented and goal-oriented. He justified that he and Joshua were engaged in specialized work and they were preparing to be as useful as possible. Nevertheless, the intensity notwithstanding, Usyk stressed that they were training together and it was a sign of commitment to practice and preparation. He said, yeah, we're training together. Anthony does special work, I do special work too, but we work together. The moment the matchup was brought up, Lamont Roach made his stance very clear. Jake Paul was treading dangerous grounds in his opinion by deciding to fight a towering and experienced opponent like Anthony Joshua. He noted that in history, few warriors had ever stepped into such a spotlight against a fighter with Joshua's background, a former unified heavyweight champion and an Olympic gold medalist who had years of competing on the highest level.
My first thoughts was, this guy's crazy, not gonna lie, but I get it. Coming from a guy who's not a true traditional boxer, and to be able to have a position where he can fight a former unified world champion, former Olympic gold medalist, and to do it on such a stage where Anthony Joshua was a superstar as well. I mean, like, he sold out the O2. You know?
Roach thought the physical and technical difference was so great that Paul was likely to be subjected to the same type of cruel wake-up call that Francis Ngannou underwent. But still, with the impending threat, he admitted the inescapable force of the event. The worldwide attention, the monetary magnitude, and the high-wire drama could not have been overlooked, and this fight was a spectacle to shake the sport to its very foundation.
I think he gets hurt, for sure. I think he gets obliterated, something close to like Francis Ngannou. I think something like that happens, and it's going to be bad for him, but there will be a lot of viewers. There will be a lot of viewers, and it then will be a lot of money.
Both the fans and the media were talking, some excitedly, others with fear. To a lot of people, the attractiveness was clear. A blockbuster fight that nobody saw coming, where the financial stakes were high and large numbers of people would be drawn to streaming services. Eddie Hearn was responding to the increasing headlines on the mooted Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight. He spoke with confidence and desperation when he explained why the match had serious implications for the heavyweight division. Hearn emphasized that on the promoter's side, the thought of Jake Paul beating a former unified heavyweight champion would be a shockwave throughout the sport.
And on the what ifs, what if we wake up on the night after and Anthony Joshua is somehow on the end of a defeat? What does that mean for him?
Sport, isn't it? Tough luck. Got beat. Disaster. Absolute. I mean, you know, when you talk about legacy, people say, oh, does this affect his legacy? Not at all. If you get beat, does it affect your legacy? That's another question altogether. So yeah, we've got to make sure it doesn't happen and go in there and just serve him up.
Fraser Clark was a blunt and honest person when he dismantled the matchup. It felt to me more like a competitive fight than like a pit bull being thrown in with a chihuahua, he said, and strongly believed that Anthony Joshua would dismantle Jake Paul with frightening ease. Clark acknowledged that he was actually a person who was genuinely concerned about the welfare of Paul, as the mere disparity in size, strength, and punching power posed the danger of a severe and potentially career-threatening injury.
I think they'll smash him, you know. I just got a feeling that he's gonna go in there and just pitbull chihuahua situation and finish him.
How dangerous would that be for Jake?
Dangerous, but these lot want to get paid loads of money. You know, this is what is part and parcel that comes with it. The nature of the beast. Look what happened to me. And I'm a fighter, and that can happen. And it's painful, man. It hurts.
Frank Smith expressed his severe concern over the fight, claiming that had he been advising Anthony Joshua, he would have advised him to avoid Jake Paul. He compared the scenario to the Mike Tyson spectacle, where both fights were based on high-risk entertainment and not a proper competitive conflict. According to Smith, boxing has moved more and more towards such attention-seeking shows, where world spectacle frequently trumps pure sport.
No, look, obviously, we are in a dangerous sport. We have to accept that. And obviously, the people looking after Jake Paul. If I was managing or promoting Jake Paul, would I say this is the right move for Jake Paul? Probably not, being completely honest with you. But he's put himself in a position, you know, was Jake Paul Mike Tyson a sensible thing to do? To, you know, a 58-year-old man or 60, I'm not sure what Mike is, but was that sensible? Probably not, and I would have said that at the time. But it's the world we live in now. And the reality is a lot of people are going to watch it, but we also at the same time have to make the sport as safe as possible and put everything in place around it to, you know, to ensure that. And that's what the commission, the Florida State Athletic Commission, will be doing, as will the promoters of the event.
Smith proceeded to give an explanation that the fight developed due to the fact that Joshua took up the offer and Paul placed him in a position where he could capture the chance. He acknowledged how risky the match is and said that Paul is a bold person who is on the verge of being delusional to take on the match. Nevertheless, Smith did not dismiss the bravery displayed by Paul in accepting the challenge, as it was undisputed that the huge financial incentive was a key motivation behind his action.
I think we go into the fight, we got offered a proposition to do this fight. Anthony Joshua accepted it. Jake Paul's put himself in a position to take that fight, you know, and that's the reality, you know, Jake Paul. But we all want everything we do in this sport, we want to make it as safe as we possibly can, but we have to accept the risks attached to it.
And this is risky, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is risky. I think Jake Paul's crazy. I think he's delusional. But respect to him for doing it, and he's getting a load of money.
The opponents also claimed that this struggle was a bad precedent. It was a warning to them that boxing was ready to accept brawls by influencers instead of an actual match. It meant that experience, talent, and history could be eclipsed by social media celebrity and marketability. Katie Taylor also wrote about Jake Paul entering professional boxing and how this has occurred despite his non-traditional boxing background not thwarting his ability to receive high-profile bouts. She attributed the experience and entertainment with Paul as one of the reasons why he managed to negotiate the business aspect of boxing to enable him to secure big fights and streaming deals. Taylor was not ignorant of the danger of the situation, saying that in his success, Paul is not exempt, as it is a very risky thing to engage an actual heavyweight like Anthony Joshua.
This is crazy. But all credit to Jake Paul for taking this fight.
But this is riskier for Anthony Joshua than for Jake Paul.
Yeah, I think it is riskier, yeah, because if he doesn't look good, if he gets caught with a shot, this is terrible for boxing. It's terrible for Anthony Joshua, but I just have to have the utmost respect for Jake Paul for taking a fight of this. This is
Taylor subsequently paid attention to the dangers facing Anthony Joshua and implied that the fight could have much more downside for him than for Paul. One error or a punch blow can tarnish the image and reputation of Joshua in boxing. Despite this, she commended her courage in taking up the challenge by Paul, knowing that going to the ring with a top heavyweight is a huge and momentous step in the game.
This is one of the biggest punches in the sport, and yeah, I think this is insane that this is happening, but I think it's actually, I don't have any problem with this because I think it's going to be more attention to boxing.
Paul himself attempted to apply the same pressure to his own benefits, asserting that speed, angle, and agility and psychological advantage would even the score. Meanwhile, Joshua and his camp were evidently attempting to erase all doubts, training, retooling under the supervision of Usyk, and vowing to finish off the fight in the shortest time possible. Nikisa Badarian, the fellow co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions, countered fiercely when the argument involved the fact that Jake Paul simply seeks faded or out-of-shape fighters. He has observed that Paul has already fought fighters who were not only active but also younger than Anthony Joshua, which makes the criticism inaccurate. When the discussion turned to the financial aspect of the affair, Badarian brought it out that the two men would share the very rich paydays.
Marty, thank you for having me on. Jake has fought older guys, being Mike Tyson, but Jake has fought lots of men Anthony Joshua's age or younger. I think Jake is in a great position to pull off a remarkable upset here.
And how much does each fighter get?
They get a lot of money, as they should, because they're putting on a massive global event.
Dave Coldwell noted that he had previously heard Paul floating the idea, so he wasn't shocked that it was becoming a reality once Paul pushed for it. When asked hypothetically how many times Paul might win if they faced off 5,000 times, Coldwell was blunt. Jake's only shot would be if Joshua happened to be asleep by the 5,000th bout.
Because I heard Jake Paul talking about it, so I thought, you know what if Jake Paul wants it to happen, it'll happen. But how it switched from Tank to AJ was a bit of what? Okay, but it's not, the fight happening isn't a surprise to me, but how it dropped on us, that was a surprise.
Now, last one. If you put Jake Paul in the ring with Anthony Joshua 5,000 times, how many times does Jake Paul win?
Depends if AJ was asleep by the time he got to 5,000.
Paul Malignaggi was not convinced of the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, and he confessed that he did not believe that it would happen. He cited an interview with his co-host Chris Algieri, who opined that the fight may have been signed on more of a publicity basis than on a competitive one. Malignaggi pointed to the fact that Joshua already has another fight arranged against a Glory heavyweight kickboxing champion, suggesting that the Paul fight might be little more than a warm-up or publicity gimmick.
This whatever happened, but Chris Algieri, my co-host at Pro Boxing, made a good point today. He said, I don't see that fight happening. I think they just signed it just to make people talk. He goes, I think Jake's gonna wind up pulling out or something. He goes, Joshua has a fight scheduled against the Glory heavyweight kickboxing champion on February 14th in boxing. I forgot the guy's name. He's a Dutch guy. This could be just a sparring session on the way there. He goes, but he goes, honestly, I don't see Jake actually doing it. This would be crazy. So you know what? I hope it's not a cock tease.
As we have witnessed, this fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is becoming one of the most discussed in the history of boxing today. It is dramatized and dangerous, with as much attention around the globe as few fights. Whether it is because of Usyk's training as per the training commentators, or whether the fighters and analysts and insiders disagree on the outcome. The fight, the tactics, and every moment in the ring will be examined by a microscope, making it a must-watch even for the fans all over the world. What do you consider will be the landmark of this fight, and who do you feel will be the winner? You know what to expect. Tell us in the comments below. You will not want to forget to like, subscribe, and enable notifications because you will not want to miss out on our extensive breakdowns, professional analysis, and post-fight reactions.